we have Matt Klein.
Okay, great. Let's hear from Matt.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. My name is Matt Klein. I'm a resident at Oyster Cove Marina. There's a development going on here from Kilroy Properties, Kilroy Realty. Tideline is the manager of the marina. Now they were put in place, just to bring you up to date. And on June 15th, we were given 15 days to sign an agreement to leave the marina by October 15th. We met at the city council and with the BCDC and et cetera, and made comment. And the thing is, if we're out of here on the 15th or before or after that, if we get an extension, Oyster Point Marina is a marina where we would need to be able to have, through the BCDC, the ability to be full-time residents, that is live aboard, and also in any other marina in the county. The other thing is, they are stating that Oyster Cove Marina will be simply shut down. That does not make any sense whatsoever. We don't really believe them. We'd like the county to take over the marina if it so occurs that they try to shut down the marina. We don't really believe that's in their plans, but we would like some assistance from the Harbor District, with our issue here. We're going to leave about 35 people homeless if this goes through in the manner it does, without our ability to live aboard at another marina with our vessels. This is low cost, low income housing. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any other public comments?
Yep, we have a couple more. The next person is, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, Carlissa Ann Young.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Carlissa.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm in a restaurant, so there's background noise. Sorry about that. I'm on my Zoom phone app. I wanted to comment about the fact that I don't think it's the best for countywide public transparency to have your meetings at 1 o'clock in the afternoons. Most boards have their meetings in the evening, unless it's like the board of supervisors or something. I don't think you guys are that fancy. So the second comment, I hope you will consider moving your things for more participation from the public to a evening meeting. Second comment I wanted to make was about what I read on Nextdoor, that you're planning to not allow the fishermen to sell their fish off their boats at the dock without requiring a $2 million insurance. I don't think that's right. Fishermen don't make a whole lot of money. They're not rich. I think you guys ought to either, if you don't want the public down on the docks, then you should give them a space up in the parking lot at the harbor to sell their fish. And I can't imagine why you would plan to do this otherwise, because liability insurance is expensive, especially a $2 million policy for a fisherman. That's just wrong, in my opinion. That's all I wanted to say. And I really do hope that you'll consider moving your meeting to a lot better time for public participation and public transparency. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Next public comment.
Lucia Lockmeyer.
You did not mess up my name. I so appreciate that. Hi, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us. I agree this should be a later meeting just because this is really hard in the middle of my workday. I'm also from Oyster Cove Marina, and I just wanted to share that John Kilroy Jr. or Kilroy Realty has spent the last 3 years getting people off of their live aboard status, telling them they could have extended stay, 2 boats equals live aboard, or turning a blind eye to sneak aboard. And then basically saying if they do not sign something saying that they weren't live aboard, they would be evicted. And it feels very messed up. It seems a little shady because they were still paying for live aboard fees or, wink, wink, nod, nod, still live aboards. And once Kilroy managed to whittle down to a pittance the amount of people that had live aboard status, then they offered what seems like to be a very generous $10,000 to those folks that were left. $10,000 if you own a boat and you know like how to get it into repair takes quite a bit. For these people who had good condition boats, but you know, to move to a new marina, you want to make it fancy, spruce it up, paint it. I've just spent $30,000 on my boat and it's not even done. So I just feel like they were doing some shady stuff there. We have elderly, disabled veterans, fixed income folks, and we just need a place to go for the people that are live aboards. And we're hoping that either you can fold Oyster Cove Marina or a section of it into the Harbor District, or that you could find it to somehow work with BCDC to increase the percentages of live aboards allowed at Oyster Point so that we can remain a community. We've all been friends and neighbors for many years, decades often. And so, yeah, we really appreciate you considering it. Thank you.
Okay, Lucia, thank you for a comment.
Next, we have Gail Schulk.
This is Gail Schulke. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I also am a resident at Oyster Cove Marina. You've heard me talk before. We're getting down to, it's getting very critical. We have until October 15th to find places to go. And as you are well aware, there aren't any. And so the alternative for all of us, and I do mean all of us, and we've had a meeting, is that we're going to end up having to anchor out. That's a very dangerous thing to be forced into doing out here. My husband and I are on Social Security. We're on a fixed income. We don't qualify for low-income housing because we do have some investments and things, but we're not by any means rich, and we can't afford $2,000 a month rent for a studio, nor can any of the other people here. I have one gentleman down the block from me that is just having neck surgery, and he's going to be out of commission for several weeks, and he still hasn't a place for his boat to go. I want to let you know that anchoring out here is dangerous because there's sand. You can't anchor in sand effectively, especially if the winds that are blowing out here, somebody's going to end up on the rocks. And there have been 5 boats that have ended up in the rocks in recent years who have dumped fuel and everything else into the bay. I'm just giving you a reality check. We need help, and we need it now. We have until October 15th, and then there is no alternative for any of us. We'll have to move our boat out of the marina and anchor out. Thank you.
Gail, thank you for your comment.
Next, we have John Olom.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. For the folks from Oyster Cove, you should know that yesterday there was a committee meeting between the Harbor District and the city of South San Francisco. And there was a little bit of discussion, a very minor, tiny bit of discussion about the situation that you're experiencing. Unfortunately, there was none of you there to participate. And one of the reasons is that the city of South San Francisco chose not to notice that liaison committee meeting. So people in South San Francisco who would be most affected by this were not noticed about it. The good news, sort of, is that Tom Mateusz kind of stood up for the district and pointed out that they needed I'll get this straight, a $50 million cash infusion from South San Francisco to make the Oyster Point Marina work, because that's in horrible condition and much in disrepair. The bad news is that nobody paid attention to them. They just ignored the fact that the Harbor District is broke, cannot afford to meet the obligations that it has committed itself to, thanks to Virginia Chain Corrali and Tom Mateusz. And so everybody just kind of kicked the can down the road. And the they're hoping that in 5 years, the price will somehow not have changed, that they will somehow identify somewhere a magic grant ferry that is going to save them, even though they were specifically told there's just not much realistic hope of grant opportunities. So hope that the board will face the realities that they can't even do what they're doing now. So thank you.
Okay, John, thanks for your comments.
Next, we have Wizobel. I hope I said that okay.
It's just Isabel. Thank you. Yeah, I'm also from Oyster Cove Marina, and I had a personal experience actually when months ago we were moving a boat to Oyster Point, and we were actually pulled aside and told that the 3 nights with 2 boats equals 6 nights thing that a lot of marinas do would be an opportunity if anything happened at Oyster Cove. Now, a few months later, when something happened at Oyster Cove, we all got an eviction notice. We actually went there and signed up and paid all the fees, and then we're pulled aside again, and we're told that, oh no, by the way, it's only 3 nights. You can have 20 boats. It's only going to be 3 nights. So, and that was a turnaround, you know, in a very short period of time that must have come from you guys, because you guys and I thought it was kind of appalling, to tell you the truth, that when people need help the most, that the ones that are closest that could offer help, even if it were only temporary to get us through the winter, so as was mentioned before, we wouldn't end up on the rocks because we can't properly anchor in the sand. I thought it was appalling that instead of helping out, apparently you were clamping down. So the city manager mentioned he was going to talk to you about us having an opportunity to at least stay the winter, so we don't end up crashing on the rocks, people don't end up dying, and fuel doesn't end up in the water. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Isabel.
Next, we have Christina Fernandez.
Hi, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all for meeting with our council members and our city manager yesterday at the Oyster Point commission hearing, or I'm sorry, committee liaison meeting. I don't know the exact title. And I also just wanted to reach out and let you know that the city is doing its best to, reach out to the liveaboards over at Oyster Cove. We are certainly sympathetic to the situation out there and doing all that we can to better understand each individual situation so that we can best assist them in relocating them to other marinas and other opportunities that we may have in affordable housing in the city. So I would just, I just wanted to let everyone know that Karina Lazo of our Economic and Community Development Department is actually the person who is the point at the city who is helping Oyster Cove Marina liveaboards currently. Her direct number is 650-829-6631. And she is sort of acting as the case manager for a lot of folks out there, helping them get resources. And I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you.
Okay, Karina, thank you for your comment.
And we have one more comment.
Oh, one more. Okay.
Gail Schulk.
Am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Okay. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, I think, is that the issue of the 10% liveaboard limit and the 3 nights a week and so on and so forth is basically a decision by bureaucratic fiat. I have not heard of any environmental studies to justify it. I know of no law that enforces it. In fact, by holding down liveaboards, this actually denies the Harbor District, the county, whoever it is, the funds from the liveaboard fees, which can be rather substantial. That people talk about the environment, but if you come out and walk the piers, you're going to see fish in the water. You're going to see barnacles, jellyfish, birds, whatever, all over the place. We're famous for our oysters. Also, liveaboards equal security. We watch each other. We take care of each other. If a boat's sitting a little low in the water, somebody's out there with a pump. If somebody's sick, somebody who has medical training is right there immediately. If somebody's there that doesn't belong, we're on the phone to the authorities. Liveaboards are good, and they would be good at Oyster Point and Pillar Point with virtually no impact whatsoever, other than having the extra funds. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your comment. Does that address all the public comments we have right now?
Yep, we have no more hands raised.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We can move on now to the consent calendar. Are there any commissioners that would like to pull items from the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
Well, let's hold off on the approval till we hear public comments.
Okay.
Do we have any public comments on the consent calendar?
Let's see, we have one, John Olam.
I want to give a shout out to President Nancy Raring, who made sure that the Harbor District updated its rules and consent calendar and public comment on items there. And it's great that she had the district staff publish that rule right there on the agenda. So thanks a lot. And as far as items on the agenda, it'd be great if somebody pulled item 7 so we had a real discussion about how this all happened. But for those who do know the story of item 7 and how it relates to item 5 from a month ago, karma is a universal concept or principle, and it came back big time in this one. So I hope everybody appreciates the irony, who understands what happened there on item 7. Thank you.
Okay, John, thanks for your comment. I will now entertain a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent calendar. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Matoush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang Crawley,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke.
Aye. Okay. Let's move on to discussion items. Be item number 9, Mavericks Festival. Jim, I believe this is yours.
Good afternoon, commissioners. This item concerns the Maverick Festival scheduled for October 1st at Pillar Point Harbor. The board in previous action has already approved the permit for the festival to take place, but there was a request for the organizers to come back to the board this meeting and talk about local involvement and what steps they took to get local involvement in the festival and supporting the festival, providing goods and services to the festival in support of the festival. And so today we have Chris, and he is the organizer of this event. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Chris to discuss what the Mavericks Festivals has done with respect to local support. Chris? You're on mute.
Thanks, Jim. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
I took off mute. Okay, great. Yeah, hi, everybody. Yeah, to Jim's point, we wanted to send over all of the different local businesses that are involved in the Mavericks Festival. And so Thursday of last week, we sent over a document that broke things into 4 different buckets. The first bucket was, as of last Thursday, we had a total of 13 different businesses confirmed in the festival. And those are listed on that presentation that was sent. And I'm happy to report we are now at 16 local businesses that are confirmed. This is still a work in progress. We've had about 6 weeks.
Oh, it looks like,
Did we lose him?
yeah, it looks like he got just dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
There he is again.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Is Mike McLaughlin doing this presentation with Chris?
I am Virginia, but I'm as to everyone's other points, I'm double booked here with my regular job, so I'm kind of listening to both here. Let's let Chris jump back in. Hopefully, he's here.
Yeah, that's not my concern. My concern is you're a panelist, and if you're not doing the presentation, you're not supposed to be a panelist.
Oh,
but if you are, it's totally fine. I just didn't know.
I was here just in case you needed me to answer any questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
In Jim or Virginia, does it make sense to put the presentation up on the screen?
The presentation's up on the screen.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen,
Okay,
Chris. Can you hear us? Because you're cutting in
as
and
mentioned
out.
Yes.
Chris, are you still there?
It looks like he got cut off again or dropped again.
Well, I guess we'll wait a minute or two here and see if he comes back.
I'm sorry, everyone. I've got a bad connection. Can you hear me again?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My apologies. If I kick out again, Mike, maybe you can explain the slides.
Absolutely.
So this is a key highlight slide of everything. So the event is October 1st. Right now we have 18 vendor booths. We have five food vendors. 4 of them are local. One is Pacific Catch, which is buying local fish from Half Moon Bay. We have 5 drink vendors. 3 of those are local bands, or local brands. And we have summarized after this all of the different local businesses that we're working on that have either confirmed or in process. So if you can move to the next slide.
Oh, it looks like Chris.
Why don't I go ahead and step in?
Chris is back.
Okay. We'll give Chris a second here. Otherwise, I know I'm in a decent connection.
Mike, I'm cutting in and out. If you could just walk through that would be great. I apologize, everybody.
Okay, no problem. So as Chris pointed out, on this list here are all the confirmed businesses that we're working with across multiple different types of activities, from drinks to businesses to food, and they are involved in a multitude of ways, whether participating actively in a booth or sponsoring. Several of them are donating their services and food as well. And we are still in works to get another half dozen actively working. Next slide. Here's the ones that we're going to finalize. We're going to be getting a couple more food vendors. We've actually committed all of our bands. All of them are fairly local, either coast side or from Half Moon Bay. We're going to have surf schools, credit unions, real estate companies. We're not listing the names here just for their own privacy reasons, but we've got several more Half Moon Bay based businesses that we are just finalizing just a few details to get them involved in the festival. Next slide. We're also making sure that organizations that are active in a myriad of ways, not just in the festival, but vendors. We're working with local vendors. I am personally looking to get high school students involved and volunteer, not just for the event, but long-term through internships as we build up, the festival and the awards and kind of the ecosystem. We want kids who are involved in sustainability or event planning or community relations to have an opportunity to work with us and learn these skills. We've got vendors providing tents. We're talking with Oceano on the use of their parking lot. American Debris will be providing the bathroom sinks and barricades. So we've looked always to be vendor first and done what we can there. Now, a fun part of this event is the education zone. And we've got a great list of groups, both local and national, but that supports our environment, both the coastside and the ocean. The top one is the U.S. Coast Guard. They're going to be doing a live demo at 10 a.m. with helicopters and boats right in the harbor there. They're very excited to be a part of this and sponsor, as they're very active in our ocean community. They'll also have in the education zone community outreach. They're going to have a 75-foot trailer that kids can walk through and enjoy. We've got the Marine Mammal Society that's going to have their truck and outreach. The Audubon Society is going to have animals. We've got the Coastside CERT team involved, both from community activation and letting people kind of know what they do, but they're going to be active in providing first aid and also other crowd control. And down the list there, we've got several organizations that are important to us, important to the community that will be there, letting people know what they do and allowing them to interact. And that's our presentation on our local community involvement progress.
Thanks, Mike. I turn it over to the chair for questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the commission? Okay.
Bill, I just want to thank Chris and Mike for giving us this update. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Okay. Do we have any comments or questions from the public? Melanie, do you have any hands raised?
We have one person, a member of the public, John Olam.
Okay.
Hey, just want to say this new format that the sponsors of this festival have put together for the Maverick surfing contest itself is really, really awesome. Actually, I think it's really well thought out. It's sustainable. I like the idea that they're never really closing down the beaches or anything that do their thing. That's great that they're able to, attract all kinds of different people from all over the world so they can get these videos put together. It's a really awesome concept, and the awards festival is something that everybody should support. The only other thing to say is the presentation difficulties and the lack of other people seeing what really was a pretty impressive list of accomplishments and goals that these guys have set for themselves. Would be much better served if this meeting was being held in the evening. These daytime meetings are just not right. Obviously, Commissioner Lorenas, he has a job, and times he just can't be here during the days. And apparently, Commissioner Raring, President Raring, I should say, wasn't able to be here today. These meetings should be held at night. So thank you.
Okay, John, thanks for your comment. Is that it, Jim, for this item?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's move on to item number 10, commercial activity permit from Genentech. Jim, this is also yours.
Yes, and good afternoon again. The district was approached by Genentech to acquire if we would be able to support their efforts in providing dedicated parking to some of their employees as they start a shuttle service. And the spaces would be in the upper C1 lot where the old RV park was, and 20 spaces, but it would only be during the workday or work week, not including federal holidays or weekends, and would not interfere substantially with the fishing parking lot when people want to go fishing, as those are usually full on weekends and holidays. The fee we negotiated or we'd agreed on, we looked at other government agency and parking fees and came up with $3 a day for that. And again, it'd be only for the weekdays and non-federal holidays that we charge for that $3 a day. They want to do a 6 months trial, it looks like, because they want to do 6 months cap. And working with the harbor master won't have a big impact on the harbor because it's in the upper C lot on a weekday. And they would come in, pick up their employees by bus and drive them over to Genentech, reducing traffic on Highway 92 and improving the environments a little bit, and also benefiting the district with the cost of the cap and the revenues generated for that. So we are recommending the board approve the cap as drafted in the staff report. If you have any questions, I'm standing by.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Do we have any commissioners that have questions or comments?
Bill, I have my hand raised.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Virginia.
So, Jim, thank you for this report. I know that Christina Fernandez from South San Francisco is on this call or in this meeting. And so I just want her to understand that, this is yet another partnership with the Harbor District and one of the main partners with South San Francisco. Which I think is important. I mean, we have aligned goals. So I don't know, Christina, if you want to just let your council know that we're working with Genentech as well on this side of the Harbor District. That being said, Tom has his hand up. I wanted to make the motion to approve this. So
okay, we'll let Tom talk first.
Okay, thanks.
Tom.
Jim, I was just curious. Let's say that there are allotted 20 spaces. Say only 12 show up. Will those spaces be available for the public, say after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
You can talk to them about that. Right now, no. They're dedicated spaces.
That's fine. That's all I want to know.
But that would make sense because the bus routes only run at certain times.
Right.
I mean, just to be clear, Tom, they're paying for those spaces. Right, Jim, they're paying for this, and this is the 6 month trial. They're paying, Genentech is paying for those spaces.
They're paying to use those spaces, yes.
Right. So, Bill, I'm happy to get to make a motion.
Yes, if you would, please.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve the commercial activity permit with Genentech at Pillar Point Harbor for an initial term of 6 months and to authorize the general manager to execute the commercial activity permit.
We'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and second. What we're going to do next is get some public comment. Are there any public comments out there? Melanie?
There are none.
Okay. We can go ahead and vote on the motion. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Zemke?
Aye.
Commissioner Mateusz?
Aye.
Commissioner Changrali?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item number 11. 504 Alhambra Avenue, purchased through repairs. Jim.
Let me make sure I have the right report up. So I just wanted to starting out with sharing the report, and we'll go through it. Thank you for your time, commissioners, for me to walk both the commission again through the process, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but also members of the public on how the district ended up with owning 504 Avenue Alhambra. We have kind of a history on this, as most know, but going back to May 21st, 2014, when we were leasing the building, at a regular board meeting, a closed session was held to discuss the price and terms and the conditions purchase for 504. On May 21st, the board in open session approved a motion to direct the general manager to execute an agreement to purchase 504 Avenue Alhambra for $1.8 million. And this motion passed unanimously. Short couple days later, on May 27, 2004, the board had a special meeting, closed session, again to discuss price, terms, and conditions. On May 28th, the board had a special meeting, again closed session, to discuss price, terms, and conditions. And then on May 28th, a motion at a special meeting in open session to authorize the general manager to execute all documents required to complete the purchase of 504 Avenue Alhambra failed to pass, overriding the decision of May 21st, 2014 to purchase the building. Only 3 board members were present during that special meeting. It's the understanding of staff that in 2014 discussion to purchase the building failed due to the seller's unwillingness to pay $194,000 in repairs to the building. Staff is unaware of what the repairs were. The seller, once learning the board's decision not to move forward with the purchase, did offer to cover the $194,000. The board considered this and again declined to move forward with the purchase. No members of the current board were sitting commissioners during the 2014 commission or discussions. And that ended this discussion to buy the building in 2014. Then in February of 2021, we received a letter offering to sell 504 Alhambra to the district for a price of $3,625,000. On the 17th of February in 21, the board held a conference with real property negotiators, which were myself and negotiating party for the building, to talk price, terms of payment. On March 22nd, the district received an appraisal for 504 Avenue Alhambra. The property appraised at $3,200,000. And I apologize, I dropped a 0 there. On March 30th, at the regular board meeting closed session, again, the board discussed price, terms, and payment. And then on April 15th, the district received an inspection report from Golden Gate Home Inspections of the property on 504 Avenue Alhambra. And that report and appraisal are both attached online if you would like to read them in detail. But I thought it was important to go over the inspection report and what they found. Overall, the building appeared to be in a serviceable condition and had some minor exterior metal components that were wasting away with rust, and exterior siding and trim, signs of age, including fungus and dry rot on them. The foundation appeared to be in good shape with the exception of a severe crack, and I'll discuss that later. Safety concerns include smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. There was rust inside the main electrical panel down on the first floor garage, loose handrails in the deck area, and then plumbing concerns to include high water pressure on the water coming into the building, a leaking kitchen faucet, and rusted or corroded drain pipes. And that was all listed on page 7 of the inspection report. Specifically, the roof had rusting, flashing, downspout damage, gutters need to be cleaning, and gutter paint chipping. So nothing really significant on the roof, and it was in good shape. The exterior of the building too had some minor siding and flashing and trim issues that need to be addressed, and they will over time. But the decks, the balconies and porches, handrails loose, rusting handrails, those need to be addressed. The first floor, the bolded items are what were some of the 5 safety concerns, and it's missing smoke detectors. And then in the salon, the smoke detector, and then the first floor suite or second floor suites where the district is located. There's stains on the ceiling from a previous flood in the building, thermal expansion cracking, and windows difficult to open. The previous flood happened several years ago when the 3rd floor bathroom had plumbing issues. The 2nd floor kitchen, this faucet was leaking. That's been addressed. The 2nd floor bathroom floors are damaged in general, and that's the laminate floors are starting to come up where they had to put seams in, and we'll get those addressed. The 3rd floor, again, missing smoking detectors, nothing significant. And then on the 3rd floor, bubbling in the ceiling, electrical, light and then smoke detectors and light inoperable. Electrical, the main service disconnect panel said it was rusted. That was true, but prior to purchasing the building, the former owners replaced that panel and put a new door on it. We'd already discussed the main water shutoff. We already had Coastside Fire come over and look at the main water shutoff device and water pressure, and they were accepted it and didn't have any issues with it. The garage, the ceiling was cracking and damaged. Structural foundation was cracking, and he listed it as severe. This is in the lower right, or as you're standing in the back of the building looking at it, it's at the lower level. Basement garage, cinder block wall. That crack's been there for several years and has not grown or moved over those years. So when purchasing and considering buying the building and getting that corrected, we did not interpret that as an immediate repair that would affect the safety of the building. Then on June 16th, after reviewing the appraisal and the inspection reports, at a regular board meeting, the board approved a resolution to purchase the building from the buyer for a price of $3 million. The purchase sales agreement is attached if you are interested in reading it. On June 1st, 2021, we got the environmental site assessment, which noted nothing significant. And then on March 31st, a year later, 2022, the district received the final buyer statement at a purchase price of $2,980,000, representing again another $20,000 reduction in sale price to address minor repairs based on the April 15th inspection report. On March 31st, 2022, the district closed on the building. And then a few days later, on April 10th, 2022, on a 3-day weekend, the filters on the sink on the 2nd floor break room failed. We don't know when they failed, but they failed and were under pressure. And you can see from the picture there, it cracked on the bottom of that one water filter. And that water went down into the 1st and 2nd floor garages and destroyed the ceilings and soaked all the insulation. Insurance covered the initial response with the emergency response team to mitigate any further damage and dry out all the walls. And then insurance looked at the repairs and estimated them to be $68,982, which the district has already received. We sent it out for bids and only conduct the repairs, and we only received one response in the amount of $231,490. Staff on June 20th, that the regular Board of Harbor Commissions recommended the board approve the motion to contract with Castillo Plumbing, and that staff report is attached. To be specific, they authorized the general manager to enter into an agreement with the contractor to do that project with a 10% contingency for the construction, for a total approval of $254,639. The sentence in yellow, that's my mistake. I was typing this up in anticipation that we would sign it on July 29th. We did not sign anything with the contractor because with further negotiations with the contractor and the big difference between what the insurance company estimates it to be and the contractor estimate was significant. And our insurance company recommended to us to resolicit bids due to the bid being excessively high in their opinion. We concurred with that. And today, the board approved our recommendation to reject all bids again and resolicit. So we'll be resoliciting a contractor to come and repair that building to see if we can get a better price. And that's my report on our history in that building.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Do we have any commissioner comments? Okay, seeing none. Melanie, do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have one public comment, John Olam.
Okay, John.
Wow. So it looks like 3 or 4 days after we spent $3 million, we damaged and found out we had another about 8% of the value of that investment that we needed to find a way to fix. Seems kind of strange. Okay, so the first thing is, why was this item on the consent agenda the last month in the first place? The consent agenda is for routine, non-controversial, mundane items. It's not meant for $250,000 out of the blue repairs. And next thing is, why did the filter crack? That's a huge crack. I noticed in the report you mentioned something about high water pressure at the building. It's interesting to know why did that filter crack? It looks like it's pretty substantial. I'm really confused about the insurance and what it's paying for. I understand the insurance was going to pay for, the original damage caused by the flood. But what's confusing is the insurance being asked to pay for the discovered damage to the balconies? Is that related to the flood? Why is it that the insurance company has any say over or interest in what we're doing with this damage that was since discovered and uncovered? I don't get the insurance aspect. And I hope you'll explain that because that is confusing. And the last bit is, wasn't there a pre-purchase inspection? And did it miss this damage that was discovered, or should it have caught it? Does the district have any recourse in that matter? But thank you for the 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, any further comments from the commission? Okay. Seeing none, thank you, Jim, for the report. We can move along to item number 12. Julie, I believe this one's yours.
Vice President Zumke, commissioners, good afternoon. This item is an item that addresses our conflict of interest code. The conflict of interest code currently is in the form of an ordinance, part of the adopted code of ordinances. Staff is recommending that that be transferred to a policy instead of an ordinance because policies are more fluid, easier to change, and it's really a process of we want to ensure that we are following all the laws. It's not the district's law. It's the state's law that we're following. So this is just tying some loose ends up. There's not really any big changes. For example, all of the people that were listed in the previous ordinance are all listed in the policy, and it identifies the general manager and commissioners as designated persons when in the code of ordinances it included that group into a subgroup that was under a different government code. So it just cleans that up a little bit. It adds some definitions and it added some economic interest filing requirements so that if someone's looking at the policy, they know exactly what they're reporting for. And so the recommendation is to first adopt the revised policy 2.1.5 conflict of interest, which is attached to the staff report. And then the second piece is to direct staff to publish a notice regarding a proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20.20, which replaces the policy in the code. And it would replace it with just refer to District Policy 2.1.5 conflict of interest, and all of the Code of Ordinance will be deleted except for that reference. We can't do that until we publish a notification in a newspaper in general circulation at least 20 days before the approval. So with the Harbor Commission's approval of this, we would start that process to do a public notification and then hold a public hearing at the next board meeting that would include a resolution to change those ordinances, delete the language that's currently there and have a reference there instead. The actual statement of policy is directly from the sample CSDA policy, their recommendations. So that's that. And then the designated people include all of the managers of the district minus the accounting manager. And it gives an example of what we mean by consultants. I think previously our consultants included finance managers and that kind of thing, but right now it would only include our legal counsel. And so with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the detail of this policy, or if you would like me to go into it in a little bit more detail, I'm happy to do that too.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Any comments from the commission or questions?
No questions. I'd just like to see us go ahead and put this into effect.
So, Bill, I'll make the motion to do that. I'll make the motion to adopt the revised policy 2.1.5 conflict of interest, direct staff to publish a notice regarding a proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20.20, which would replace the policy in the code with our code with referred to District Policy 2.1.5 conflict of interest, and to place a resolution to amend the Code of Ordinances Chapter 20.20 at the next regular board meeting on that agenda.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's see, do we have any members of the public that would wish to comment on this?
Nope, there's no members.
No members with their hands raised. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve as written here. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Chan-Crowley,
Aye.
Commissioner Mateusz,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move along to item number 13. Call for nominations for Special District Committee mail ballots. Jim, I believe this one's yours.
Make sure I'm unmuted. I am. Good afternoon once again. This is a call for nominations for Special District Selection Committee mail ballot to elect alternate special district member on San Mateo, LAFCO, pursuant to Government Code Section 56332. There's two things here today. Is one is authorization to agree to mail-in ballots, and then the second one is if the board wants to nominate a board member to serve as the alternate. The recommended motion or issue is the commission may consider a nomination of a commissioner for the LAFCO alternate member position for the independent special district member for LAFCO. Harbor district members, the harbor commissioners are eligible. Again, the reason this is coming up is because LAFCO is comprised of 2 county supervisor members appointed by the Board of Supervisors, 2 city council members appointed by City Selection Committee, 2 special district members selected by the Special District Selection Committee. The alternate position of LAFCO for the special district seat was promoted to the primary, and now the alternate position is open and the term expires in 2024. And LAFCO is looking to fill that spot. No board action is necessary unless the board president is not able to participate. The board president is not here, so the board needs to approve the mail-in ballot, and if they want to recommend somebody, the board has to approve a recommendation. That's my report, pending any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions from commission?
No questions, but I would approve the mail-in, and I'd like to nominate Virginia Chan-Crowley as alternate.
I'll second that. Thanks for nominating me, Tom. I'd love to be the nominee for the Harbor District and the Harbor Board.
Great, Virginia. I think you do a fantastic job.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Any other comments or recommendations? Do we have any members of the public who would like to comment on this?
Well, I have a comment. Do you want to do this, Bill, or are you okay with me?
No, you notice I did not put my name out there.
Okay. I'm accepting the nomination.
Melanie, do we have any hands raised on this one?
No, we don't.
Okay, very good. Okay, do we want to make a motion on that, Tom?
Wait a minute. Last minute, Catherine Slater Carter would like to speak.
Okay. Catherine, are you muted?
Hopefully I'm unmuted now.
Yes, you are now.
We can hear you.
I just said I'm getting onto the Bay Bridge and I'm not used to doing Zoom on the phone, but that's life in the modern age. I just want to endorse what the board is doing. LAFCO is particularly critical right now for special districts. And we need a good, strong supporter of special districts and somebody who is very articulate and not easily deterred. So I support what the board is doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. All right, do we have a motion now I think we do.
Yeah, Tom made the motion. I
Tom made the
seconded.
motion, you seconded that. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chancarelli.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's move along to item number 14, which I think is a fairly standard item that we have on the agenda just to be consistent with current practices for authorizing public meetings. Do we need?
I'll make a motion to
thanks.
Authorize the public meetings to be held via teleconference pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any public comments on this one, Melanie?
No.
Okay. We can move along to a vote. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chancarelli,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke.
Aye. Okay, that concludes the discussion items. Moving on to commissioner comments. Tom, you have any comments you'd like to make?
No, I'm silent today.
Oh, okay. Virginia, any comments that you would like to make?
No, I'm just giving kudos to the staff again. Thank you.
Okay. Which brings it down to me. I do want to thank the staff for their preparation work on the comments and the agenda, and also especially to Melanie for helping me through this first opportunity to chair a meeting of the Harbor District, and also to my fellow commissioners for helping me support their support in getting through this this meeting.
Thanks, Bill. Great job.
Oh, thanks. Future agenda items. Anybody with future agenda items they'd like to make?
No.
On the current agenda, perhaps I will go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
And I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second. We adjourn. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chancarelli.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the meeting. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Yes.
Bye, Jim.
Recording
Bye.
stop.